People are in the center of two universal archetypal essences. If we look from this position into the details, we conclude that nature is chaotic. If we look at the whole, we conclude that nature is orderly. Einstein looks at wholeness and God does not play dice there. Niels Bohr looks at the details and that is where the dice are thrown. The left wing looks more at wholeness and develops a morality of equality and internationalism. The right wing looks at the details and develops a morality of freedom and nationalism. Or with soul, mind and body. In quantum physics, we want to know what the particles that form our body are made of. Metaphysics, on the other hand, is the highest level of abstraction, and there one defines oneself through the observation in the mind. The mind stands between and enables the soul to recognize physical reality by processing it logically. So there is a mind, when it looks outwards into the physical, defines itself as a body, and when it looks inwards into the meta, as a soul. A lot depends on whether one looks inwards or outwards, or up and down, or into detail and wholeness. This video is about the three types as one can define oneself. I have passed through mental stages in my development, for which I can also use the three syntheses. First, I've defined myself through the physical. I had a material understanding of myself. That was my body. Sometimes even a bit the things I own. When I started thinking about the self, I realized that I am not my body. I am a mind in this body. The body is a vehicle that my mind has borrowed. I am not my hands or my eyes, but the mind that controls them. However, I have since come to understand that when I look at a tree, I am not really seeing the tree. I see a kind of hologram created in my mind by the information I take in with my senses. I see the inside of a pattern processing algorithm from a non-physical dimension. Even in a video game, a character can bump into walls, but it is still an algorithm. It's a logical and non-physical chain of reactions moving through a large information grid. So I do not see the reality, but only what my mind constructs from it. An algorithm does not have to be viewed from the inside. It can calculate without a monitor being connected. But if one is connected, is it then connected? If a tree falls and someone stands next to it and sees it, is then someone standing next to it and sees it? If an organic algorithm creates a hologram that is observed from the inside, is it observed from the inside? Yes. And I know that more than I know that everything around me really exists as I perceive it. I am an observation in my mind that has been observing long before my mind reflected and recognized the observation. Imagine in your computer a calculation takes place, and behind this logical chain reaction there's an observation beyond the physical reality, which can only look into this reality via such a chain reaction. As if I were such a non-physical observation looking into reality via logical chain reactions. And that's the only thing I know is actually real. The physical world then seems so distant to me because I know that the only thing connecting me to physical reality is a hologram created by my mind. But what I don't understand is, where am I? Where is the place from which I look into the non-physical chain reaction of my mind? What is the nature of it? I think nature is a large algorithm in which many smaller algorithms grow. The physical interaction between things is part of the code of nature. Our mind takes in the data of nature through our senses to reflect the environment. Like a mirror that is made of logic and translates data into a hologram. I don't think you can walk through walls by changing the way you think. If this were possible in nature's code, it would be probably too chaotic to produce complex brains that could reflect the environment. In the exoteric and materialist world are the physical biological bodies. Bodies are individual and last only for a limited time. They are volatile. The body is material and has nothing metaphysical. The mind which lives in the body is half physical and half metaphysical. In it happens an algorithm which has learned by evolution and natural selection to reproduce and reflect reality as logical processes in the brain. It processes the information which it takes in physically, and at the same time it can also grasp things which are not physical. The mind is like a portal into a non-physical world. The soul is what looks into the mind. It is not material, but a purely metaphysical concept. So there's a soul as a purely metaphysical and non-material concept, and there's a body as a purely physical and material concept. The mind is what connects these two concepts. On the top of the mountain of truth, then, is the soul as an eternal self that cannot die. The soul can be recognized by realizing the nature of the archetypal structures, through which a mind and perception evolves. One realizes that everything that is mental evolves through these patterns. All of it follows logical patterns and are subjective degrees of a spectrum of possibilities. And yet something remains: the silent observation into the algorithm of the mind. As if there was only the observation, and in front of it calculates a small fractal algorithm of nature, which processes the information taken in through its senses. I am not a body observing a physical world, but I am a soul looking into the algorithm of a mind. That is why the Philosopher's Stone, as a universal formula for the unification of all things, is also the key to immortality, because one no longer perceives the self as a body or mind, but has climbed so far to the top that one has recognized the soul as the true and deepest self, which cannot be touched and cannot be destroyed by any weapon in the world. The three stages of consciousness that I describe fit perfectly to the three concepts of body, mind, and soul. In the unconscious state, one recognizes physical reality but does not understand the connections. In some ways, trees and mountains are also in this spectrum, but they are in a permanent state of meditation. It is a melody played in a spiritual dimension from which we observe it with our soul. The only difference is that our mind is able to logically process the environment and look back into our own observation, while a tree does not process such logical abstractions. In the subconscious state, where we stand as humanity, one understands physical reality mathematically and recognizes the mind, but does not understand the mind. In the conscious level, one understands the mind as a logical process which is understood as coldly and mathematically as we consider physics. One then recognizes that the soul stands separate from the mind, but does not understand the nature of the soul. This opens up a potentially higher state of consciousness, a state that is reached by becoming aware of the nature of the observations into the mind. Consciousness is for me a state of mind that is aware of something and understands it. It is a mind which can become conscious. To the highest degree of consciousness belongs the knowledge about the nature of reality and mind, the understanding of the archetypal structure of order and chaos, and that one recognizes the silent observation. My philosophy is therefore not only the synthesis of religion and science, Western and Asian philosophies, or the unification of Hermetic and Abrahamic religions, but also a modern form of animism, in which it is described that everything is observed from within.